A shot at glory has been presented to Richmond and Greenville as they begin their campaigns to attain it here this evening at Paladin Stadium. It's the first day of the inaugural Jägermeister Cup. Who knows what kind of excitement is in store for us today and across the year. Welcome one and all to this broadcast on ESPN+. My name is Mark Schoenster, and it's Ross Davenport sitting to my right. All right, let's get into the structure of this thing, Ross. There are a couple of tweaks to what you would expect from a typical cup. Of course, the goal scoring being the primary one. We also got regionalized groups. We've got these games are going to be interspersed throughout the USL League One season to make it 30 total games along the regular season for these clubs. 8 games. You play each member of your group twice, and then you get 2 out-of-group games, 1 at home, 1 at away. It's going to be a lot of fun. Tiebreaker for the one team that will make it to the playoffs that doesn't win their group is goals scored. So here are your groups. We're in the East group today. Richmond Kickers, Greenville Triumph, both sitting in that category. Charlotte and Tormenta are the other 2 members of this group, which will mean once the season has completed, once we get to the end of September, these clubs will have played each other 4 times in the combined Jägermeister Cup matches and the USL League One regular season matches. But they wanted to make it local. They want to breed these rivalries and make them more fiery and competitive like we know they can be in USL League One. So let's break into the nitty-gritty of the 2 teams playing today. First off, Greenville coming off a 3-0 win against Tormenta on Sunday.
Yeah, Leo Castro there taking advantage of a rare Ford Parker mistake this season. Liam McKinnon, he would make it 2-0 in the final 10 minutes with this nice finish from the edge of the box. And he would also make it 3-0 on this breakaway. His 3rd brace of the season in all competitions for the Triumph.
Earned himself Player of the Week in League One last weekend, and we'll be looking to translate it over to the game here today in Jägermeister Cup competition. Meanwhile, on the defensive side of things, Brandon Fricke's been hurt, Ross, but they've been able to rely on the youngster Daniel Wu to step up.
Yeah, he was great in Sunday's victory over Tormenta, the second-year man out at Georgetown, national champion there in 2019. Talked about the importance of goals tonight. He'll be trying to stop Richmond from scoring them.
Richmond, on the other side of things, coming off a 2-0 loss against Spokane last time out, a game in which Darren Swatsky didn't feel like his team played too poorly. They just, on the day, were outmatched. Yeah,
Romain Métanire with his 2nd goal against Richmond this season already, the veteran from France, and then Andre Lewis, bangers only for this man from Jamaica. That's his 3rd golazo of the season.
Richmond trying to figure out how to keep these goals from piling in. They'll be relying on the likes of Griffin Garnett and his partner, Chris Cole, who will be our player to watch on the Richmond side of things. They've been a bit leaky defensively, which is not typical for a Darren Sawatsky side, but they're also hurt. Chris Cole, not typically one of those guys you would see filling into one of those center back spots, but he's a flexible player, and they're relying on him to be the guy to build up a staunch defense for the Richmond Kickers. Localized groups, an innovative game format with some typical League One mayhem, and you're stirring up quite the heavy concoction. Lineups at kickoff are coming up next between the Kickers and the Triumph.
Cycling was a lifesaver. It really was.
You know, when we first talked about the business, I could tell it was more than just a new direction for you.
Yeah, it's a full-time passion now.
It wasn't the easiest journey, was it?
Hanging on for the ride, that's half the fun. Staying ahead of your competition, that's the other half.
There's always more ground to cover. Let's find a way.
Welcome to Wood Creek Dental, where dental care is a family tradition. For over 40 years, we are proud to be a family-owned practice serving the community of Greenville, South Carolina. At Wood Creek Dental, we believe in quality care and exceptional service. Our experienced dentists and dedicated staff are committed to your oral health. We've invested in modern technology and have created a relaxing atmosphere for your comfort and peace of mind. We prioritize your experience in our calm and caring atmosphere. Our commitment to providing you and your family with exceptional service is at the heart of everything we do, and our patient-centered approach builds relationships based on trust and confidence. Experience the difference for yourself. Wood Creek Dental. Dental care from our family to yours.
Jägermeister is proud to be the presenting sponsor of the inaugural USL Jägermeister Cup. Take a shot at glory and celebrate the magic of this exciting new tournament all year long. Please drink responsibly. And it's brought to you by ScanSource, official partner of the Greenville Triumph. And we're here at Paladin Stadium. Procession underway between the Triumph and the Kickers in Greenville, South Carolina. Let's take a look at our starting lineups, brought to you by Pelham Medical Center. Starting with Greenville, they're donning new kits today, the lilac kits, and this is the formation being rocked by Rick Wright.
Yeah, a couple of changes for Rick Wright. Jamie Smith, Gunther Rankenberg take a break. Zion Scarlett, very impressive off the bench Sunday. He comes in at wing back as Nate Schultz moves to center back. Christian Garner back in between the pipes after being on the bench the last two.
Been recovering from an injury. Meanwhile, on the Richmond side of things, also a goalkeeper change. It'll be Ryan Cello who's plugging in between the pipes.
Yeah, also a couple of changes for Darren Swasky. You mentioned the one in goal. Only the 6th pro start for the 26-year-old Ryan Cello. Justin Tsuko comes in for Arthur Bashua. Neil Vinyals, he was the furthest forward Richmond player in last week's loss to Spokane. We might see him drop a little further back tonight behind Sierakowski, Tsuko, and O'Dwyer.
So here we are, the Kickers and the Triumph. JJ Volinsky is our head official. He'll be the one to blow the whistle and get things going here. Well, the heartbeat of American soccer bumping up a couple notches here in the Jägermeister Cup.
Ryan Cello with an early touch. That was an interesting kickoff move.
Straight down the spine and right to your keeper.
Looked up and saw a blue jersey. I thought I was seeing things for a second. These lilac jerseys look good. Not quite the Paladin purple of Furman University, but they fit nicely in with those colors.
Once again, I'm Mark Schoenster, Ross Davenport with you here on ESPN Plus, and this the first day of Jägermeister Cup action on ESPN Plus, as the Kickers and the Greenville Triumph do battle and look to get their first points in the East Group. We'll see how these two teams fare in this competition. For those who maybe watched the in-season tournament in the NBA or have watched, I believe the NWSL did something of the likes where group stage matches also counted for games in the regular season table. That is not the case here. As a whistle blows and we'll get a free kick for Richmond. These matches are entirely separate from the regular season table, from the League One table, and the push for the playoffs.
Yeah, with League One going to the traditional balanced schedule that we used to around the world this year, only 22 League One games this season for each team. So fill in that gap a little bit. We've got this fun little in-season competition. Obviously, two teams here coming into this game. It's in very different situations at the moment. Greenville on offensive fire to start the season. Richmond, meanwhile, dealing with some injuries across the board to some key veteran contributors. Nathan Orney, Dakota Barnathan, Emiliano Terzaghi all out tonight. Just trying to hang on with some youngsters, and this is a good chance for them perhaps to show what they've got, and a little less pressure, right? Not a whole ton riding on this first game just yet in the league. Also there's mini leagues here in this World Cup style competition.
Once again, you'll play everybody in your group twice, a home and an away, and then you'll have 2 games against teams in the other groups. You got your West, your Central, and your East group. We were talking before the game started that as far as how the season has unfurled thus far, not only are they localized, but they seem like pretty balanced groups at that between the 3.
Yeah, Madison might have the most complaining about the travel they're going to have to do. All their teams in the South. Madison got left out of the West group just because of the way the numbers fell. Obviously, new teams joining next year, things will balance out a little more. We'll see if USL Championship decides to join the party next year as well, perhaps.
Join the party indeed. I asked Rick Wright what his first impressions on this cup were. Obviously, another cup competition, another piece of silverware to compete for, but also with these weird rules, you wonder what every single coach, every program takes away from learning about that and being a participant. And he said he wasn't sure how to feel about it at first. He mentioned that him, alongside Evan Lee, Brandon Fricke, met with Greenville Triumph president Chris Lewis and talked about the approach they were going to take with it, and they feel like one of the challenges that are going to come with this tournament is the mental side of things, just staying locked in and switching gears from playing a regular season game versus playing in a cup game, and the significance of each match in their context as far as where you sit in the respective standings. But he mentioned that Greenville's excited about it, and that some of the guys on the team, if they score a goal, they've got something cooked up and playing. So yes. If the Triumph score in this game, you're going to want to keep your eyes on the screen and see if there's some sort of coordinated celebration. That's what I would be anticipating.
I mean, I think this first game, I think they may just treat it like a regular league game. There's not really much else riding on it. Obviously, a win is nice. We do go straight to PKs tonight if there is a draw. Finish that thought off in a second.
Service comes driving in, and the header glances wide for Castro. And Ryan Schello, the goalkeeper, will distribute this one. Meanwhile, Darren Sawatsky, when I asked him what his impressions on the cup were, he said, "You won it." And he mentioned he can understand the purist view that some might have about the cup, and that the most important thing is the league, and you prioritize the league and whatnot. But he said, listen, there's been a lot of success in other American leagues, not even just in soccer, like the NBA having an in-season tournament, and they are 100% on board with it, and they are going to fight tooth and nail for it. He also felt that splitting it up throughout the season was a good idea. Don't just have it all condensed into one part of the year and in just a month or two, to just have it interspersed throughout.
Yeah, it'll be mostly league match, cup match, league match, cup match, with an extra week off here and there, all the way through till August in the knockout round. I think perhaps if you lose this first game, the pressure gets a little tighter in the second game, right? Especially if, depending what happens in the other game in the group. That's why you always like to keep an eye on the other game in the group. If you lose, you want to hope the other game ends in a draw.
Yeah, 0-0 draw.
0-0 draw. Obviously, one team will get the extra point. This is not what Rick Wright wants to see in the first 5 minutes of a cup game. Is veteran striker clutching at his Achilles.
Leo Castro hailing after some contact early on in this affair.
Yeah, we've seen some crunching tackles already in this one. Liam McKinnon, Neil Vignals was involved, and Zaka Moran as well, of course. Always loves a bit of contact. Castro will try to walk this one off. Had that, obviously, one of the easiest goals he'll ever score in his career on Sunday night from a yard out. We're underway again.
This one caught by Christian Garner. Before the news of his injury was brought forth to me, Rick Wright told me that Garner was edging out Gunther Rankenberg in the competition for that starting goalkeeper spot, in that it was going to be Garner playing the regular season games and Rankenberg playing in cup competitions. Of course, then Garner gets hurt, Rankenberg comes in and has played pretty well, including having a save in that Tormenta game that Rick Wright described as a pivotal save. He felt that morale really would have gotten down had he conceded in the first half against Tormenta without Brandon Fricke, who is very much a stabilizer there on the back line. He wears the captain's armband.
Yeah, Rick Wright said that Fricke probably could have played tonight, but they're just going to take it easy with him recovering from, it was a nasty challenge, just more of a bang than anything from Treasure and Bouillot, as opposed to a twist or anything that would have required further treatment. Just going to have some rest, deal with the soreness. But yeah, Gunther Rankenberg was solid. He had a couple of early question marks, claiming some balls, but he dropped them and managed to reclaim them. But yeah, did make a big one-on-one save early on. Listen, goalkeepers are not only called to make 2 or 3 key saves in a game. If you can make them, can be a difference maker.
Maxi Schenfeld with a throw-in. Lofts this one forward, headed along, and then knocked away by Zion Scarlett. Vignals taps it to his right. Suko dragging it across the center. Couldn't connect. He's fishing for Sierakowski and company. Leo Castro doing really well there. Taking some contact, flicking it along with his head. Now Anderson into the 18, he fires, and that'll glide well off target. Counterattack opportunity for Greenville. Not capitalized on.
Ethan Anderson on the right tonight, been playing mostly on the left. Opposite Nate Schultz at the other wing-back spot. Moves over to the right tonight to allow Zion Scarlett to fill in at the left wing-back spot. He almost had the assist on that Castro goal on Sunday when Ford Parker dropped it. He's been very impressive, the first-year pro.
Ball service comes in, knocked away by Schultz, and we're gonna get a corner kick.
You mentioned Nate Schultz pinching in tonight from his normal wing-back spot to join the three center backs alongside Wu and Polak.
It'll be Maxi Schenfeld who will make his way over to take the corner kick. Little end-to-end here in the early moments of this first Jägermeister Cup game for Greenville and Richmond. The overall first game kicked off an hour ago between Spokane and Central Valley Fuego. Already a goal in that one. This one's played short. Service comes high, arcing in. Headed up by Wu. That's Griffin Garnett working with him. Suko, another bending ball. And that one will go out. Let's take a look at our keys to the game here. Brought to you by Acumen IT. First off for Greenville, it's Bring the Spirits, Ross. It's a change of tone here for the Triumph, having a lot of success in the regular season. And maybe there could be the argument that when you switch competitions that sometimes you got to work up the motivation for, you got to bring the energy, especially you got this currently young Richmond Kickers team you're going up against, and they're going to bring the energy, so you got to make sure you match that.
Yeah, especially when you're top of the table, right, and you know that every point you get puts you away from half the league, right, if they're not picking up points elsewhere. So if teams have come out brightly here in this one, there's a good look at Rick Wright, man from Bermuda.
Anderson, bested by the much more seasoned Zaka Moran. Meanwhile, on the Richmond side of things, for them, one thing they were very privy to when it came to what Greenville poses is their counterattack capabilities. So prevent the flights, if you will. If you give the ball away to Greenville when you're on the attack, make sure you know where you're running to, because Greenville's going to push it forward, and they have got the players and the acumen to punish you.
Yeah, if this was a league game for Richmond, perhaps they sit back and try to play for the point with the situation they're in with the injuries all over the place. But obviously, we talked about the importance of goal scoring in this competition as being the wild card tiebreaker.
Service comes in, flicked along goal. Saved by Ryan Shello and knocked out of bounds. Here's a look at this exchange once again.
Nice 1-2 work there, and that's a great job by Castro to get enough power on that header. There's enough power on the cross. Castro was coming towards it there, had to twist his neck around and force Ryan Shello to make a save.
Certainly not a customary header on goal. Vinyals.
As you mentioned, with the goal scoring bonus in this competition, Richmond might be looking to push forward. At times in this game, as you mentioned, Martin, you've got to be careful. The way Greenville can turn defense into offense very quickly this season under Rick Wright. It's more free-flowing play.
He's telling us this week that he likes to have possession in that attacking third, but in that Tormenta game, they were holding such a high line that Greenville recognized what was going on and instead pushed the ball forward, breakaway opportunities, and they scored on, I believe, at least 2 of them in that game against Tormenta on Sunday, and he really appreciated the way his players were able to adapt and adjust to the game.
And Tormenta matched up with Greenville with a 3 at the back, as that's a nasty challenge there that might bring a card. Just going to be a warning, perhaps, for Chandler O'Dwyer, the Englishman. That's a nice start to the season for a man that he hasn't played a ton for Richmond during his time here.
Sliding in from behind.
Yeah, perhaps lucky not to find his way into the book there. Perhaps the fact it's a little early. JJ Belinsky, our referee, giving Mr. O'Dwyer the benefit of the doubt.
Meanwhile, that that 2-0 loss to Spokane. Darren Sawatsky mentioned that the Spokane team that has a lot of high-level players, and he didn't feel that his side played particularly poor, that they were just simply outmatched on the day. If you could offer one complaint, he mentioned he felt they could have been a little bit better on the attack.
And they had some half chances. Just didn't really manage to trouble the Spokane goal too much. Obviously a bit of a mistake that led to that Roman Metanier goal. The second goal by Andre Lewis was certainly not a mistake. That man is just firing things in from outside the box all season so far. Mistake from Polak there.
They're lively here to start off in this affair, though.
Listen, even with these injuries to this Richmond team, there's some pretty serious talent on this squad. Neil Vinyals, Ryan Sierakowski, Zaka Moran, Maxi Schenfeld. We saw him score from a bicycle kick earlier this season.
This one popped up. Sierakowski chasing it down, and he'll escort it out of play. And it's another corner kick for the Kickers. Neil Vinyals, oh so often the one by the corner flag for the Richmond Kickers across the years. Provides the service, and it's nodded away and then booted away by Evan Lee. Zakowski all by his lonesome, and Simon Fitch recovers and gives it back to Shello. This is the Richmond team that Rick Wright described as very organized, and he acknowledged that Griffin Garnett, the youngster center back, has done really well, even though several clubs, realizing it's a 17-year-old center back, have targeted him, and he's still handled that pressure that has come with that by being attacked poignantly by these opposing teams. Also threw some compliments Pablo Jara's way, of course, not starting in this one, sitting on the bench. A little back heel trying to connect, but won't go anywhere. I suppose for those of you wondering, if you're hearing Pablo Jara and you're getting a little jarred by that pronunciation, been Pablo Jara for so long, but turns out that he wants his name to be pronounced that way now, Jara. Sometimes you get that happening.
That's fine, as long as he sticks with it. Doesn't want to go back again. Congrats to him, by the way. He announced last week they'll be becoming a father for the first time later on this year. Offside there. Speaking of offside, there was a contentious offside call on Sunday. Rick Wright said that on our League One cameras it looked like he was onside, but then he went back to look at the Greenville camera that records the tactical side of things, and he said he was offside. So,
by a yard or so, that's
yeah,
what he told us.
Very interesting one. There was certainly some discussion about that, quote, goal that wasn't a goal that would have given McKinnon a hat-trick, perhaps, that got called back on the socials this week. Still 1-0 in Spokane at the hour mark there. Pierre Reedy with the only goal for the first-year club. What a great start they're off to in the Northwest.
The first shot in the Jägermeister Cup to hit the back of the net. That's a lovely ball through, but a heavy touch from Fitch and out for a goal kick. The inaugural USL Jägermeister Cup continues on Saturday, May 11th, with the second round games in group play starting at 1 p.m. Eastern. Watch all the Cup games streaming exclusively on ESPN+.
1 p.m., I like it. The lunchtime action.
Yes, sir. Of course, we got that Spokane game against Central Valley Fuego. We've also got Charlotte duking it out with Tormenta, which is also part of this group, and it's a goal for the Independents already in that one, up 1-0. And it's probably the name you would anticipate it being, at least for this season. Obregon Jr. on the score sheet once again. Boy, has he been a nice addition to the Jacks this season. Greenville are a bit all too familiar with that. Yes. The only League One loss this season is to Charlotte and to Juan Obregon. As
mentioned, Hayden Anderson playing on the right tonight. These Cup games are perhaps a chance for coaches to get a look at some changes of position. Anderson mentioned spent most of his time on the left so far this season. Obviously, Rick Wright thinks he can play on the other side as well. We see John Hart switch wingers all the time. Obviously, didn't play in the 3-5-2 so much.
This one headed along for Sierakowski. And that challenge is going to be a point to the spot. Christian Garner trying to get in the way of Ryan Sierakowski.
Well, we thought we might see penalties later on tonight, but we're going to see an early one here. Initial thoughts were perhaps offside. That's what Evan Lee's asking about. I don't think there was much question about whether Garner took him down. I didn't get a look at it there, but Garner committed.
He doesn't get any ball there, just gets the legs.
Yeah, the thing is, Sierakowski's going away from goal towards the byline. Christian Garner perhaps with the incorrect decision there, but he committed to it. And once you go down, it's hard to pull those arms out. We'll see if he can stop the spot kick here. I assume Vignals will take it, and it will be.
Nil Vignals, the one standing by the spot. It'll be mano-a-mano with Christian Garner. Garner going with the tactic of leaving the goal wide open and then stepping in at the last moment. A lot of different mind games that keepers can go with here.
Hurry up if referee Belinsky blows his whistle here. Maybe he'll wait till Garner gets in there. I don't know how long he'll wait, though. All right, now he's coming in. I wouldn't want to argue with Mr. J.J. Belinsky. He's not a small lad, Mark.
Absolutely not.
Is it a unit? Is that what they call it?
Absolute
the kids.
Unit, yeah. Nil Vignals winds up, and it's saved! Denied by Christian Garner. He swallows that one, keeping the shot from hitting the back of the net.
Yeah, not the best strike by Vignals. Certainly a little close to Garner, who went the right way. He spent most of the time watching his teammates miss penalties down the other end this season and helping them out here early in this one.
Daniel Wu gives it away. Nil Vignals looking for immediate redemption. Vignals taps it to his left. Suko still working with it, and a whistle blows. Offside. And despite the bright opportunity for Richmond, it's still 0-0 here.
Well, perhaps justice done if the initial play on before the PK was offside. We didn't get a great look at it, but perhaps we will at halftime.
And we'll deflect out and stay Greenville possession, a Greenville team that Darren Sawatsky described as a good group of players full of vets. He said because of that, they've been taking advantage of other teams' mistakes. He said it's very reminiscent of the Charlotte Independence last year in the way that they've been putting away the opportunities that come before them. And you could argue it's overperforming, or you could say it's just being clinical.
Yeah, listen, those of you that have watched this league for years will know that most of the goals in this league come from three varieties: transitions, set pieces, and the occasional mistake, right? And if you're able to take advantage of mistakes in this league, you'll be doing better off than most. Yeah, that wasn't the greatest PK from Vignals along the ground. Some slight questions there if Christian Garner came off the line early.
The Reedy River Riot will definitely not be asking that question, though. Right, has got his guys playing a lot more aggressive than the more pragmatic John Hart's. That was where Darren Sawatsky wrapped up his thoughts on this Greenville side. Every coach has got a little bit of a different flavor as this one.
Speaking of mistakes,
carelessly given away by Shello, but he slides.
Risky business from Ryan Shello. As you mentioned, I think we mentioned it in the pregame, it's only his 6th professional start. Spent some time as a backup in Detroit City to the great Nate Steitmarscher. Obviously, he's been sitting here behind Pablo Jara most of the season so far.
Started in that Open Cup game against Loudoun. This one popped over to Ryan McKinnon, but too far ahead. Once again, donning those lilac kits, the 3rd kit for the Greenville Triumph this season. Inspired by the murals and vibrancy of Greenville's West End. It's also got some nice stripes on it as well. the lavender color, that is. I think they look fantastic. I've heard some of the players have some varying opinions on it, which I guess comes with the territory.
It's every kid, Mark.
Yeah, that's true.
For the most part. It's just like commentators.
Chandler O'Dwyer tangled up with Tyler Pollock.
I think Pollock was just sort of on the way down the way he fell. I think that's perhaps what he's trying to say to referee Belinsky. It was just perhaps he thought he got taken down. We'll see. I'd take another look at it here. Yeah.
It's a dangerous way to fall, though. Falls on the back of the heel of Chandler O'Dwyer.
Tyler Pollock just kicking himself for being slightly out of position on that one. It was what in the end led to the foul, and first yellow card of the evening for Mr. Pollock, hopefully the last.
So this is an interesting set-piece opportunity for the kickers, who have definitely had the better share of offensive opportunities in this one, even if you exclude the penalty. Vignoles leads it. Service driving in, and not quite on target. Less of a service and more of an attempt on goal.
I know we don't have a USL Hall of Fame, Mark. Whether we will ever have one, but I think Tyler Pollock would be a first ballot man, wouldn't he?
Yeah, I think so.
In the USL League One Hall of Fame.
And I mean, if you're gonna fish one out, I think Richmond kicker Emiliano Terzaghi is also on that list.
Yeah, listen, this is
I don't
a shame
think
that
no.
it's a shame that we haven't seen him since last summer. Been dealing with some injuries. Obviously, you would think Dan Swatsky smartly building the team around Emiliano. Just haven't been able to see him on the pitch yet. Hopefully soon, perhaps next month. Because Greenville also missing Sebastian Velasquez, who missed a few games now with a hamstring injury. Rick Wright said to us last week that he'd re-injured it, but then said this week that it looked like he was coming back a little quicker than expected, so perhaps we'll see him soon. But he mentioned he's got to have some interesting decisions to make. Sikowski's been so good in the middle. Let's have Herrera and Lee behind him.
And talking on the injury side of things for Richmond, and they've had to plug in so many of these young guys. And he mentioned, though, that on the bright side, he says, we've got some good young guys who live locally, and that's a godsend. He mentioned it's better for if you are a young player who's going to go through an academy with the pro team, as Castro gets this one lobbed forward to him. Leo Castro! And it's just too high. And a direct opportunity for Greenville. Not quite put away by Leo Castro.
Used his body well there, did the sizable veteran. There was a bit of a miscommunication between Chris Cole and Ryan Shello. One thought the other may have had a better shot at it. In the end, neither of them did. And I think that one may have even clipped the top of the bar, Mark.
Dished away as Chandler O'Dwyer will fetch for it.
We got the match between Chattanooga and Knoxville kicking off in a couple of minutes. It's the 4 games today in the Cup.
Have another tomorrow. Lexington and Madison.
And then the last one is Wednesday, I want to say, midweek this week, I think.
I believe so, off the top of my head. Here come the kickers. One run was not taken.
Yes, Wednesday, Union Omaha will take on Northern Colorado to wrap up the first round of the Jägermeister Cup. First round of group games, I should say.
Floating ball comes in, but it's just too far for Sierakowski. That's what I was talking about with the young guys for Richmond. He was talking about those young teenage players who get the chance to train with a professional club. As we get another turnover, Neil Vignoles is saved.
It was a rare moment of sloppiness from Chapa Herrera. You know, Vignoles, the last man you want to be giving the ball away to 25 yards out. On this Richmond team, at least.
That was a bit of a hectic moment. And it's Vignoles on the end of it. Neil Vignoles. Nice it to the left-hand side for Suko. Suko one-on-one with Nate Schultz. And he'll drag it back.
Maxi Schenfeld on the ball. They was playing indoor soccer until signing with the Kickers. Aaron Swaski said they did take a look at him a year or two ago.
One of the more experienced players picked up by Richmond. And the offside flag goes up. Select the official match ball supplier of the USL League One and many elite leagues throughout Europe. Visit us.select-sport.com for the latest Select products, specials, and more. Select, the player's choice. Well, now several times I've been trying to tell you the story about these young players and what Darren Sawatsky thinks about his young guys. Keep having opportunities churn up, but he was saying that when it comes to these young kids who have the opportunity to train with pro clubs, that it's better for them to stay in their hometown than to travel to, per se, a big city nearby or farther away, because you get cooking from your parents, you get to sleep in your own bed, you get to be in a familiar territory. He mentioned, look, we've got some of these guys who are playing, like let's take, for example, Griffin Garnett. He's, along with him and others, who have sprinted out after games are concluded to go to prom. Puts into perspective what these guys are doing. He said they're having a trial by fire and they're getting better for it. It's not the preferred way he'd like to do it, the amount of young guys he's having to start, but the fact of the matter is they're going to be experiencing tremendous amounts of growth due to the fact that they're all getting thrown into the fray of things. Anderson lofts it up, and it's grappled by Shello.
Yeah, Darren Swaski mentioned, nice that he's honest with us and saying that they want to be a club that produces the young talent and then sells them on as a business model, right? We've seen some championship clubs be better at that than others. That's how it's done all over the world, right? You produce your own talent, you can sell it off for a good amount and then get percentages when they get sold on elsewhere.
McKinnon taps that in, looking to connect with Zakowski, but it was too far ahead of him and just close enough for Shello to close in on.
Neither keeper with a ton to do so far tonight other than the takedown by Christian Garner. Simple saves for him. The game mostly played in the middle third. We have had some action down either end, but it's only been a fun first half. As you mentioned, it was wide open earlier, going back and forth. A couple of mistakes. But the team's certainly going for it.
Ball being played on the ground by Maxi Schenfeld, and now the whistle will blow.
Easy.
We may be getting another booking here.
Might be one each, I think, here. Maxi Schenfeld. He loves a card now and again, Mark. As does his teammate, Zaka Moran. He said Zaka Moran with the most yellow cards in League One history.
So it's Herrera along with Schenfeld who will get bookings.
We'll see if Maxi has a case. He was obviously on the ground. Zaka Moran came in with the... It's a bit harsh on Maxi Schenfeld. Zaka Moran with the more nasty challenge, certainly, than Moran. I mean, than Maxi, who was on the ground. Chapa certainly perhaps deserved a one there.
So a booking apiece. And we'll get things restarted here.
I think we determined Schenfeld was second in League One red card history behind Josh Phelps.
He's gotten better about it over time, according to Darren Sawatsky, as that header from Castro is quite able to get a clean connection on it. It's Upstate Soccer Night in Greenville. I got a lot of youth clubs coming in to take in the game. When it comes to community involvement, Greenville, along with Richmond, are both pretty active in their respective communities. Rick Wright talking about his club and having that representation in the community. He said that I've been very involved with the community in my time at Greenville, and they had a pizza event on Wednesday where they were helping give out slices of pizza, and they gave out over 1,000 slices served by different players of the Greenville Triumph. Mentioned that Chapa Herrera and Velasquez were teaming up and taking on the entire city in cornhole. They were getting awfully competitive with whoever they matched up with. I asked him just how important it is to have that sort of local icon to look up to, because obviously kids growing up are going to look up to the Messis of the world, the Kylian Mbappes, but how important is that a guy whom is right next door you could go see play professionally, chasing the dream. And he said, I mean, it's huge. And he said, not only do we want the kids to watch, as this one's fed in, Vinyal shoots, and it dips over the crossbar.
Justin Zuko's had a good first 33 minutes here down this left side. Finding a good amount of space. And then there was a lovely goal for Vinyals in the channel. A good first touch too, and that ball could have gone absolutely anywhere. Off the foot of Daniel Wu, including looping over Garner, and that was inches away from doing so and finding the back of the net.
Vinyals, good looking ball, but just too close to goal. Garner looks to quickly distribute. Zion Scarlett will be surveying his options and connects with Lee.
Zion Scarlett needs to get a little more involved here. There's perhaps a chance. More of a traditional winger. He can play a little centrally too as a 10. Wing back maybe a little new to him. It's probably, I'm sure Rick Wright told him, hey, if you want to get a few more minutes, this is a potential spot for you to do so. At the wing back position, here's Suko again.
Nice ball from Vinyals to get that one out. And here he is again. Vinyals turns. Nel Vinyals! And it deflects in! But the offside flag goes up. They let the play go through. That was an awful long time for Nel Vinyals to figure out a way to shoot. It's also, well, kind of close.
Deflection off Schultz, and it was debatable. Nel Vinyals, one of the classiest technical midfielders in League One over the last few years, and he showed why there. It was a beautiful turn and finish. Didn't complain too much about it. Well, we've seen he's been wrong on offside goals on this field before, so we'll give our assistant referee the benefit of the doubt.
I think the part that I'm a little bit more shocked about is just how long that play kept going after that pass to Vinyals. But sometimes maybe you don't catch the assistant official throwing the flag up and the play keeps going. And then the moment you notice, then you blow the whistle.
Richmond yet to have a clean sheet in League One.
Vinyals driving in, trying to break a clean sheet here for Greenville. They've been the one poking and prodding. McKinnon sends Scarlett running, but Zaka Moran, ever so reliable, dishes that one out.
Yeah, good work by Moran. Simon Fitch got caught a little forward here. That's good work by the defensive midfielder.
Got in just before Zion Scarlett could turn on the burners. You know, he's got the pace on him. Now here comes part-time catapult Hayden Anderson. Richmond have got one of them themselves, and Nathan Ani. Of course, he's still working back from injury. Anderson chucks this one in. Headed away. Sikowski. Now the volleyed attempt from Herrera, and it'll go off the right upright of the field goal post, and then off the crossbar on its way back down.
Chapo Herrera, for a guy not known for his goal-scoring prowess, he'll let loose from outside the box on occasion. We've seen him try some more audacious attempts this year.
No goals yet in league play, but scored the game-winning goal in Open Cup play against Knoxville.
I think Richmond's done a great job in this first half of his quietening Liam McKinnon. Barely mentioned his name, Mark.
5 goals in league play, like you said, already 3 braces this year in all competitions. Schultz. Tyler Pollack.
best Tyler Polak pass in history there. Zion Scarlett scampered back to try and keep it in.
Shello distributes out to Schenfeld.
Spokane still with that 1-0 lead in the last 7 minutes there on the West Coast. Should finish just about the same time as his first half finishes. Tormenta started at the same time as this one, 1-0 Charlotte lead there, as we mentioned earlier.
The other two members of the group in the East. So Charlotte looking to push for 3 points. We touched base on it earlier. If you draw, it's a point apiece, but then you go to penalty kicks with an extra point on the line. Akin to that of the NHL, if that helps understand anymore.
One thing that'll be fun to see if a team goes into that last game perhaps out on points, but they know if they say scored 8 goals in that game, they'll just throw everything forward, try to score, get a wild card goals spot. Interesting to see.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to in those last few weeks of the season, Ross, where maybe one of these teams know they're not going to win the group, and then near the end of the game, they're just going to, you could potentially sub out your goalkeeper and throw in another field player.
Just play 2 at the back and just from the start, Mark. I would just play 2 at the back from the start if you need 8 goals. Just it doesn't matter how many you give up.
Yeah.
How many you score. So
as long as that other team is not in the competition for the tiebreaker.
This is true, yeah. If you're playing a team that's already qualified, and they can win 15-8 for all they care. It's only an interesting twist that we haven't seen before.
No Vignals.
He's had a great first half. Neil Vignals, other than the penalty, and there's another example.
Sierkowski with the squaring ball.
It's a good save from Garner. At the near post, it may have caught Tyler Polak sliding in, and Garner was certainly leaning the other way initially. Had to get quickly back to his left. We've seen goals go in like that before. On the deflection, but Vignals running the show in the midfield here in this first 45 minutes.
Vignals has been good. We mentioned Justin Succoat had himself a positive first 40 minutes as well. Can the Richmond Kickers find a goal as a reward for their efforts here in the first half? High arcing ball, and nothing with that one. Can't watch the match? Turn on Sirius XM FC 157, North America's only 24/7 source for engaging soccer talk, including USL All Access Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern. Plus your live matches from the USL, MLS, Premier League, and more. All on Sirius XM FC 157 and the new Sirius XM app. 40 minutes through, this one still 0-0. But a penalty kick denied by Christian Garner after Christian Garner was the one who committed the foul that earned the penalty.
He redeemed himself. He certainly did. Now a chance here for Richmond.
That's a good run through for Vignals. It was just too far ahead of him. Now the cross coming in. Succoat couldn't reach it. And now Sierkowski blasts it up the pitch. And Castro will chase it down, but Shello with a good first touch to dish it out wide. Here's Chris Cole, one of the 2 center backs today. Richmond, so far, outside of a couple of counterattacks for Greenville, have been done pretty well to mute this Greenville attack.
No, 100%. I think Darren Sawaski, especially being on the road, will be the happier coach at the break here. Richmond have looked dangerous in that final third. Obviously missed the penalty and just haven't been able to trouble Garner too much. It was a good save just a couple of minutes ago. Down low to his left. Yeah, Richmond certainly with plenty of positives to take away from this first 45 minutes.
Long ball up the pitch, headed back forward. Castro with a juggle. Leo Castro taps it. McKinnon, long shot, and it's off target.
Well, the way he's been shooting the ball lately, you would expect that one to have found the target. well wide in the end. See, Ryan Zukowski was begging for it in the channel. But I don't think Rick Wright will mind Liam McKinnon taking cracks like that. He said he's been shooting so well in practice as well.
Yeah, he's had to tell him to stop. Maybe save them for game day. Vinyals with a lot of room to operate. Nil Vinyals cuts inside, squares it across. Late run, deflected effort.
Great work across from Tyler Polak, coming across from his left center back spot to deny Vinyals. Vinyals tried to get him, getting his momentum going one way and cut back the other, but Polak did so well. Forced Vinyals to make the pass instead of letting him unleash one of those dangerous shots we know him for.
Played all the way back to Shello. Greenville looking to conjure up something here in the 45th minute. It's Griffin Garnett there, providing the defense. Roll out for a deep, deep throw in for Greenville. Aiden Anderson will push away the board and give himself proper room to put enough juice on this one and make it an effective set piece. Here it comes. Anderson can't get there in time, so it'll be a throw in for Richmond. I asked about Griffin Garnett and how he earned the trust of Darren Sawatsky to fill into that spot as one of the center backs, just 17 years old. And he said, we have big faith in all of our kids, and they've known he was ready for it. So we get 2 minutes of stoppage time. And he mentioned since he's come in, he's been drinking from the fire hose this season, but he's been keeping it down.
I like that phrase. Darren's certainly one for phrases. That was one of his better ones. No, he's done a great job. You wouldn't know, looking tonight, you couldn't point out the 17-year-old if you didn't know who he was, Mark. That's the best thing you can say, I think.
I think the only thing that gives it away is the number. Donning number 38, it's not exactly a center back's number, but
we've seen some crazy numbers in the history of League One. Yeah, Castro has number 25, and he's been here long enough now to perhaps have done enough to have any number he wanted, but he's sticking with 25. There's a look at Darren Sawatsky.
Good quips in the all-black outfit. Those are two trademarks of the Richmond Kickers head coach. Anderson to Zukowski. Gets pushed down. That'll be a foul on Suko.
One last chance here, perhaps for a Greenville chance. Suko does like to get involved physically. His broad shoulders. Zukowski will take it.
Just a couple seconds left to go in this half. Zukowski floats it forward, headed towards goal and into the arms of Ryan Shello. And that is how the first half will conclude. Well, so far, it's scoreless in this one. A save by Christian Garner from the penalty spot is the only reason it's scoreless at this point in time. It's the Richmond Kickers who had the better of the first half, you would say. But going into the break, 0-0 between the two sides. With that in mind, we'll step aside for just a moment. When we come back, we'll learn a little bit about the thought process that went into the Jägermeister Cup, along with the rest of our halftime content here on ESPN+. Goose eggs across the board. We'll see you after this break.
At Piedmont Natural Gas, being a part of the communities we serve is important to us because to us, community begins with you. We strive to address the needs of our communities by investing time and resources to help improve the quality of life for our customers. For over 60 years, we have funded programs that support education, the environment, and community impact. Our Energy Assistance Program, Share the Warmth, helps customers pay their energy bills. We're committed to helping our neighbors by powering the vitality of our communities.
The lottery isn't about jackpot winners. It's about investing in our students. Even when it began in 2002, it was lottery proceeds that helped fund new technology initiatives in schools across South Carolina. And when students booted up those screens for the first time, they discovered a lifelong love of learning that shaped them into the professionals and people they are today. When you play the lottery, the real winners are always our students. After all, education is our middle name.
Welcome to Wood Creek Dental, where dental care is a family tradition. For over 40 years, we're proud to be a family-owned practice, serving the community of Greenville, South Carolina. Our experienced dentists and dedicated staff are committed to your oral health. Experience the difference for yourself. Wood Creek Dental, dental care from our family to yours.
South Carolina's economy is growing, bringing new businesses and opportunities. The need for electricity is growing too. At Duke Energy, we're meeting the challenge, providing even more electricity that's reliable, that stays affordable. To do this, we're investing in our communities with a diverse, balanced mix of energy sources and making targeted upgrades to the grid so that South Carolina can thrive in a smarter energy future.
And we're back here at Paladin Stadium. 0-0 your scoreline between Greenville and Richmond. Mark Schoenster, Ross Davenport with you here. Let's take a look into the thought process going to the minds of the USL as they conjured up the Jägermeister Cup. After that, we'll also see some of the best goals from League One this season. But without further ado, let's learn about the Jägermeister Cup.
Lifted in, the header's in!
The inspiration for the change to the USL League One format in 2024 is just to focus on being new, being innovative, and being fun. And League One's a league that wants to kind of build an identity around offering fun to our local soccer fans.
There's been lots of conversations back and forth with the clubs on how we could increase the competition elements. So first of all, we were looking at a balanced schedule.
And then the Cup allows us to add some additional games, focus on regional rivalries. So we think we kind of get the best of both worlds.
It's hopefully something that engages our fans. There's going to be a reward at the very end for the team that wins. That always makes it exciting.
Well, we're just trying to think of what's happening in Europe, and some of these games, they're decided in these knockout competitions at the end with penalty kicks. It's a talking point, and it's just something different. We just want people to go away feeling good about themselves.
One of the things that we're most excited about with Cup competition is the regional rivalries. We've got a lot of these derbies and rivalries that our fans have come to know and love across the last 5 seasons.
I think the thing that makes for a good rivalry in sport, in American sport, is the idea that I know you, I understand you, we live in a similar part of the world, and so I know you enough to not like you.
We tried to find some things that made us differentiators, and we're going to try this one out.
Pierre Reedy, two in the box with him, lays it off, top of the area, Lewis! He has a tendency for the spectacular. Unbelievable first-time effort.
To a win. Scarlett now knocks it on to McKinnon, who's onside this time. McKinnon to the edge of the box. Onto his right foot. With the strike line, McKinnon. This time he's onside. 2-0 Greenville. His 4th of the season.
Kept alive by Bashua. Settled by Moran.
Overhead kick is in! It is miraculous! Maxi Schinfeld with the equalizer of all equalizers in the Henny Derby.
Kelly. Angelo Kelly from range, he scores! Oh my goodness! Angelo Kelly with a rocket of a shot to take the lead!
Very stingy back line from Mark McGeever. Dos Santos
On the turn, venomous, and it's fantastic. Out of nothing, Steven Dos Santos, one of the best goals he may ever score, and they take the lead on the road.
Plays it forward. Richie's got space. Stuart Ritchie trying to seal the deal for Knoxville. Plays it forward. Richie's got space. Stuart Ritchie trying to seal the deal for Knoxville.
Smith with the service inside, headed down, winding shot towards goal, and Greenville score.
Thank you, Ref.
Tie ball game here at Toyota Stadium.
That's what Liam McKinnon does. Pops up in the right spot.
Some great goals already early on in this season, Ross, and we might have some great goals coming up in this one, but none thus far. With that in mind, we're going to step aside for a break. When we come back, we'll go across the news and notes in the league.
The best nights start with Jägermeister. Made with 56 botanicals. Always served ice cold. For the moments when anticipation becomes celebration. Jägermeister. Meister the moment.
From distance, oh, what an effort, and it's special.
We all have goals. But let's be honest, most of us aren't going to be professional athletes. But if your goal is to finish your degree, we can help. Come to a university that puts your goals first. Bellevue University, your partner in finishing goals.
Pain doesn't care who you are or why you hurt, but pain can be mastered if you know the way. Fight back with Tiger Balm's legendary herbal power. Trusted for over 100 years, our proven blend of camphor, menthol, and essential oils tames pain with the strength and speed of the tiger, so that you can rise above pain and get back to living. This is the way of the tiger.
There's a new airline in town. Breeze Airways has arrived at GSP International Airport with nonstop flights to 5 cities nationwide. Enjoy low fares, no change or cancellation fees, and convenient nonstop service. Make your next trip seriously nice on Breeze Airways. Visit flybreeze.com to book your flight from GSP today.
As we welcome you back here to Greenville, South Carolina, the Boys Academy team being recognized here at Paladin Stadium during the halftime festivities. 0-0 after 45 minutes between the Triumph and the Richmond Kickers. Mark Schoenster, Ross Davenport with you here on ESPN Plus in this first matchup in the Jägermeister Cup for both of these clubs. Let's take a look at the news and notes from around the league in USL League One. First off, welcome to the party, Portland Hearts of Pine.
I love it.
I said earlier today, I love pine trees, I love USL League One, so what's not to love about the combination of the two? Meanwhile, there is other cup competitions taking place. Still got a lot of USL League One clubs fighting to make a push akin to that of Union Omaha a couple years ago. And then Ross, Lexington, what do they need? More offensive weapons? Alexis Cerritos joining them in the party. More attacking opportunities for Darren Powell's side. They are just gushing with wealth in that category. Let's take a look at the scoreboard across the Jägermeister Cup. Penalty kicks in the first ever Jägermeister Cup game. We've got it on here, and it is currently one goal apiece between Spokane and Central Valley Fuego. Wouldn't blame you if you threw that on another screen to see who wins that extra point in the first ever Jägermeister Cup matchup. We already mentioned Independence up 1-0. Still 0-0 between the Red Wolves and Knoxville on that end of things. And we still got more fun tomorrow between Lexington and Madison with the new acquired Cerritos. And then Wednesday, it'll be Omaha and Northern Colorado Hailstorm, 2 semifinalists in the League One playoffs last season. So the action does not stop here as we look at where things will pick up, not next week, but the week after that in Jägermeister Cup action for the Greenville Triumph. They'll be playing their Peach State Derby rivals, South Georgia Tormenta. Meanwhile, the Kickers will be up against the Chattanooga Red Wolves in an out-of-group clash in that regard against Scott McKenzie's side. We've got a lot of good stuff here, both at regular season play and in Jägermeister Cup play, and a little dosage of Open Cup 2 for USL League One. We've also got a great game, a great rest of this match. 45 more minutes to come between the Kickers and the Triumph on the other end of this break on ESPN+.
It starts with only one tap to have total home control with Priority One Security. You can view your cameras and video doorbells, integrate our smart locks, lights, thermostats, and control your garage doors. Customize your smart devices to fit your schedule with our automated controls for a smart, effective, and secure way to protect your home. Experience total control and complete security from the convenience of our one app, one tap smart security and home automation on demand. Call Priority One Security and tap that app. Official partner of the Greenville Triumph.
At Piedmont Natural Gas, being a part of the communities we serve is important to us, because to us, community begins with you. We strive to address the needs of our communities by investing time and resources to help improve the quality of life for our customers. For over 60 years, we have funded programs that support education, the environment, and community impact. Our Energy Assistance Program, Share the Warmth, helps customers pay their energy bills. We're committed to helping our neighbors by powering the vitality of our communities.
You've never been afraid to put in the work. The extra early, extra late, extra work. Because you understand that education is the key that unlocks everything. Better pay, better hours, better opportunities, a better you. And playing the lottery is no different. Getting educated before you play gives you the tools you need to be a better player, like knowing when to play and when to take a rain check. Visit sceducationlottery.com/betteryou to be a better player.
Jägermeister is proud to be the presenting sponsor of the inaugural USL Jägermeister Cup. Take a shot at glory and celebrate the magic of this exciting new tournament all year long. Please drink responsibly.
John Brown.
Tonight's broadcast is also brought to you by ScanSource, official partner of the Greenville Triumph. Here are your highlights from the first half of action here at Paladin Stadium. First, the penalty committed by Christian Garner, but then a save by Christian Garner moments later, denying Nil Vinyals on that penalty kick, keeping it 0-0. There'll be some more opportunities for the Richmond Kickers in the first half. That bending effort on the free kick, some forced turnovers and mistakes by Greenville meant opportunities for the Kickers. They couldn't find the back of the net despite that. Nil Vinyals had himself a bright first 45 minutes of action.
Garner had a couple of good saves, one to each side low, as well as the penalty save to keep this game scoreless. If the game does go to penalties, Mark, Greenville have struggled with their PKs this year. I think they missed 3 of 4.
Talking to Darren Sawatsky about penalties, he said, if there's one person who would be itching to take penalties, it's Arthur Boshua, who missed the penalty in the Open Cup game against Loudoun. He's on the bench today, so could perhaps sub on as we get things going here in the second half of action. Still 0-0 between Greenville and Richmond. Sikowski trying to get one going. One substitution coming out of the break. Nate Schultz will exit and Jamie Smith will step in.
Still in the penalty shootout in Spokane. Derek Waldeck just missed one to give Fuego the advantage. If they could wrap it up here, as here Vasquez could put it away. We'll keep you abreast of that situation in the historic first Jägermeister Cup game, as well as penalty shootout.
This one deflects out off of Schenfeld. And with that, Central Valley Fuego secure an extra point. So here Vasquez with the penalty kick. Guessed the right way by Marancio, but at the end of the day, could not make the stop, so they'll win that one. So 2 points for Central Valley Fuego, 1 point for Spokane.
Confidence boost for the boys from California for sure. And a rough start to the start of the season for them.
Ball chucked it, flicked along.
Jamie Smith was there, ready to throw himself at it, just a split second too late.
Would have just been moments after coming into the game. Jamie Smith, the Englishman. There's Evan Lee, who put that in a very nice spot inside the 6-yard box. Pollock will throw this one in right in front of Kickers head coach Darren Sawatsky.
I mentioned Derek Waldeck missing that penalty. He made some key penalties. He played for Stanford in the College Cup. Clemson, the 2019 NCAA quarterfinal. See, I do get to put my penalty kick research to use, Mark, from years ago. You know, it's one of my favorite things to do postseason. Don't always get to use it. No, Josh Eastern had a game last year that went to PKs and he got to use my research.
Yeah, he had to have 2 of them. He had both the semifinal and the final go to penalties.
Yeah, Derek Waldeck, he also was in the 2016 College Cup final, lost to Wake Forest. Ian Harks scored a penalty in that shootout for Wake Forest.
Ian Harks, of course, if that name rings a bell, son of John Harks. Here's Daniel Wu, who will distribute it over to Smith. And there's Griffin Garnett stepping on that pass, booting it away. Anderson working his way forward. Aiden Anderson not on the same page there with Castro. And that'll roll out harmlessly for a Richmond goal kick.
I mentioned Daniel Wu earlier. He was an NCAA champion with Georgetown in 2019 in a shootout win, scored in the final as well as a shootout, so a win over Virginia. See if we get to PKs tonight. I'm sure the neutrals will be, as they always do, will be cheering for it.
You could say the best case scenario, a 0-0 draw for everybody else whenever one of these games is taking place, until, of course, the standings start to shift. But in general, I think the base hope and expectation is this one's volleyed along. That would have been a tough ask for Lion McKinnon to complete, and it's going to bounce wide.
Asking for communication, it seems. Somebody may have been asking for the ball. Lion clearly didn't hear them.
Dragging ball up the pitch, stepped on by Herrera. Anderson gives it right back. Bit of a tangle up here, and free kick incoming for the Greenville Triumph. USL League One is on CBS Sports and ESPN platforms all season long. Catch live matches and expert analysis every day on the CBS Sports Golazo Network and ESPN Plus. Go to USLLeague1.com for the complete USL TV listings. Ball comes bending in, looking for Smith. Some appeals for handball, yeah.
Yeah, Smith always a threat in the air on the set pieces. Can knock it back across. Some numbers here for Greenville, but they'll keep that one in.
So far, been an aggressive start in these first 5 minutes for the home side triumph.
Yeah, I'm sure Rick Wright had some choice words at halftime for his team. As well they've been playing over the last few weeks. I think they were perhaps the second best team in that first half. Richmond certainly with the more dangerous chances. To get Zion Scarlett more involved. McKinnon as well.
So plays the ball up and it reaches the feet of Pollock. It's Christian Garner getting his boot on it. Touch base on it in the first half. This is a Richmond team that's still beleaguered at this moment with injuries. They're getting closer, but they're not quite there yet, according to Darren Sawatsky. So we're about as beat up as you could get. They've been giving teenagers a lot of minutes. They've been willing to fight, and he said the rest of the team as a whole, they're all in it. They're going to fight tooth and nail, game by game, which I think is the bare minimum you can expect from a Richmond kicker side. Always a gritty team that, if nothing else, they'll put in the elbow grease.
Yeah, we mentioned Terzaghi, Orney, and Barnathan, 3 veterans missing. Tony Pineda also out with a leg injuries, as well as youngster Beckett Howell. He saw some action last season. So with these League One squads hanging around 20, 21, you lose 5 guys to injuries. Luckily for Richmond, they have those academy players to call on. Not every team in USL League One can claim that. So Greenville signed a young goalkeeper early this week, Caleb Pokoro, on the bench tonight, taking advantage of that new rule. An extra academy player can be on there.
Zakowski winding around to keep that one in play. And now Greenville will get to enjoy possession as a fruit of that effort from Zakowski.
Yeah, it's good work by the rookie. That's what he's all about. Hustle. Good technical ability, though, too. Something hasn't made this team miss Sebastian Velasquez. Everybody was very concerned about who would fill in at that center mid role, but Zakowski's been superb so far since moving into the starting 11.
Certainly has not been the glaring weakness that some would have anticipated with the exit of Greenville's number 10, who's still on the mend.
Yeah, hamstrings are nothing to trifle with. They'll take their time with the recovery.
It's always a tricky injury too, because it just takes a lot of feeling out.
It's only one very easy to re-injure if you come back too early, as we saw Sebastian hurt himself in training.
Vaughn with the lofted ball across the center. Moran does well there to maintain possession for the kickers. Schoenfeld up for Vinyals. Greenville now have a chance to go forward. The back heel from McKinnon. And a yellow card issued to Nil Vinyals. Our head official, JJ Belitsky, with some choice words here. A late challenge on Lee. They were going to play advantage, but when Greenville lost possession, the whistle.
Nil Vinyals always wanted to try and plead this case. That one was a textbook yellow as they come late and from behind.
Yellow card brought to you by GSP International Airport. That's another look at it there.
2 yellows apiece now. Polak and Herrera for Greenville. Schoenfeld and Vinyals for the visitors.
40-yard line of the football markers. Greenville await the go-ahead from J.J. Belinsky. All lofting in. Made some contact, but nothing too dangerous off the head of Daniel Wu.
You've seen him score with his head. He scored last season in his rookie campaign.
How about that ball forward? It was a body contorting effort, which is nothing unfamiliar for Maxi Schenfeld. We saw the goal at halftime, the juggling bicycle kick that he scored in Madison.
I think that's my number one so far in this first sort of quarter of the league season. That's a poor giveaway, but Jamie Smith helping his mate out.
Schenfeld winning it back for the kickers. Vinyals taps it to his left. Suko working on Smith. Justin Suko. Play it backward. Here's the Schenfeld cross. O'Dwyer. O'Dwyer still with it. Out to Suko. He's got bodies in the box. Back to Chandler O'Dwyer. Squares it up top for Vaughn! Oh. That's a good save. Christian Garner with a twitch, and he gets both his hands on it.
Yep, certainly the best save of the night for Garner. James Vaughan, he's had a quiet game so far as well, the Englishman. Came over here for college, went back to England to play his trade. The journeyman now back here on the state side. That was a good low save by Garner. He had to get down quickly. It was well struck by Vaughan.
Corner kick, headed away by Lee. First testing moment in the second half for the kickers. Looks to be Chandler O'Dwyer. Slow to get up. Looks like he's going to get back up and walk it off, but with a puff and a grimace. Let's take a look here. Just wipes out. He twisted his ankle. Of course, can't make any assumptions, but
yeah, just got tangled up a little bit with Evan Lee. We have a couple of offensive options on the bench. Darren Sawatsky.
Fitch puts it into O'Dwyer, and it's still loose. Goalie out of his box, and it's a great stop goal line clearance from Jamie Smith. A hectic moment. Richmond close to scoring, but Jamie Smith positioning himself nicely. That looked like a handball. That'll be the case.
Yeah, Garner came out. He was looking for the foul, but I think it was a fair challenge. And I mentioned Jamie Smith smartly helping his goalkeeper out, hanging out on that goal line, and he won't get credited for a save. Here's another look at it here. Oh, yeah, the second look, maybe it was a bit too much contact from O'Dwyer. Maybe Garner had a point. It was O'Dwyer again with the chance, but Jamie Smith is the hero at this time.
Cole escorts it out for a goal kick. It's a Greenville team that in the weeks building up to a road trip to Charlotte weeks ago hadn't lost yet. And Rick Wright was curious to see how his team would bounce back from a loss. They end up losing that game against the Independents and then losing in the midweek on the road in the Open Cup to Lou City. He mentioned that his side didn't really have time to dwell on the Charlotte loss, which was a good thing. I think out of those two games, that's the one that stung more, as a game that Greenville had a plethora of chances and just couldn't put it away.
Especially in the first half.
He felt his team hadn't skipped a beat, and by the time they were preparing for this game, or not this game, for the Tormenta game last weekend, they had already gotten over the Charlotte match, and they were able to get a 3-0 win on the road against a tough side coached by Ian Cameron.
Yeah, Tormenta outshot Greenville in that game. But only managed 2 shots on target. Mentioned how well Daniel Wu played in place of Brandon Fricky. Limit those Tormenta chances. Interestingly for Richmond, they play their first 3 cup games on the road this year, which means they will play the final 3 in the group at home. Only won 1 of the last 6 meetings against Greenville. It's obviously one of the longest series in USL League One history. Did win the first meeting last season though, Carlton Belmar. That goal off the corner, no longer with Richmond.
He's actually with the Independents now.
Yeah, Independents have made some interesting pickups recently here. Certain former Greenville midfielder.
Oh yeah. Let's see if the kickers can conjure up anything here with possession. 2/3 of the way through this one, still scoreless. It is now 2 big moments for the Richmond kickers that have been denied by the Triumph. One, a penalty stop by Christian Garner after he was the one who gave away the penalty. And then a goal line clearance from Jamie Smith moments ago. That's how we find ourselves still with no goals on the board. Hayden Anderson able to blast that one away.
Yeah, I thought perhaps he would be better off shepherding that one out. Just got word from on-site, Mark. This record crowd tonight for a Greenville Triumph game. 4,101, which beats the previous record in their Open Cup match against Charlotte. Charlotte FC, that is, not Charlotte Independence. That was back at Legacy Early College a couple of years ago. So congrats to the Triumph crew. Obviously, Upstate Soccer Night, a big success. Team doing well. Hopefully they can continue those kind of numbers.
Yeah, it's great when you can best an attendance record when the previous one was when you had a bout with a team that was 2 tiers above you in the MLS. Of course, City Stadium not unfamiliar with large crowds.
4,000, probably about their average. Spokane doing super well in that regard as well in their first year. Forward Madison always a great crowd at Breeze Stevens.
And they're also looking to get good crowds this year for their W League team in Richmond, the Richmond Ivy, as they announce. Cup-specific slate. Apologies for those technical difficulties, but we got a crew that's working nice and hard to make sure that the moment something goes wrong, the fix is right there on the other end. Just some in-game adjustments, Ross.
That's right.
As I was saying earlier, Richmond Ivy announcing their branding and some really nice-looking unis, too. I got a chance to peek at those, and boy, did those look great. And they also, at City Stadium, they announced that in July, at the end of July, they're going to have an NWSL game there between the Washington Spirit and the Chicago Red Stars, which is an awesome opportunity, and I know City Stadium is more than capable of welcoming in those 2 prestigious clubs.
It's always great for these teams on one side of the state to travel to the other side and introduce that into the state to professional women's soccer. So we'll see some more of that. Obviously hearing FIFA now letting clubs play league matches in other countries perhaps coming up soon. I've obviously heard of teams trying to do that in the past. And Barcelona tried to play a game in Miami one year and FIFA said no. It seems like a lawsuit perhaps has opened things up for that to happen.
Here's a substitution for the Greenville Triumph. It's Pascal Corvino coming in. This substitution brought to you by Spink. So Daniel Wu is exiting the game for Corvino. So perhaps that means Evan Lee is dragging back Ross, because Corvino's certainly not a center back.
It's an interesting one. See how things play out here in a second. Corvino's certainly pushing up. See where Evan Lee is in a minute. Corvino, the rookie out of Missouri State.
So with that in mind, definitely a tweak from Rick Wright to try to help find a result here. So Daniel Wu comes off. This will be our adjustment of the match, brought to you by Upstate Spine and Sport. Daniel Wu is playing in a center back spot. Pascal Corvino, definitely not a center back. So we'll see how the shape shifts. Perhaps trying to get a little bit more aggressive here. Put Evan Lee back at the center back spot. Corvino perhaps will be a bit more aggressive in the midfield. Provide some more connection in the middle of the pitch. We'll see exactly what his motive will be. Again, goals are very much encouraged in this cup, so it also, by result, encourages some more aggressive play. This ball tossed in, headed along. Here's an effort, doesn't get far, at least not far enough. And it's deflected out for a throw.
Good strike by Corvino.
And just moments after coming into the game.
And the first time, some half-hearted appeals for handball, mostly from the Reedy River Riot. Certainly with the venom it was hit with, whoever was in there for Richmond didn't have a chance to get out of the way.
Aiden Anderson side by side with some of the leading chanters for the Reedy River Riot. Ball's lobbed in, it's coughed up, then cleared away.
That one could have gone anywhere. And Hayden Anderson's long throw-ins continue to be a valuable weapon for the Tribe. It's almost like a free kick. Right? You're out there on the wing and flash one in.
I mean, he's had a throw in that ended up in the back of the net. Game against Lexington. Here's a ball inside. Castro! That's a fantastic save! Ryan Shello lays out for it.
Yeah, you can see that ball floating in there. Castro was just waiting for it.
And this one falls down, but not good contact from Zakowski.
I didn't think Zakowski thought the ball was going to reach him in the end. Here's another look at that first chance. Castro wide open. You put money on him to score from there, especially with Shello out as far as he was. He was caught in complete no man's land 3 yards out. In the end, it helped him.
Ryan Shallow, yeah.
It seemed like he thought about coming for it initially. Just got caught in complete no man's land, which is normally a big problem when you're a keeper. He got away with it that time.
Not sure if we're doing save and goal of the weeks in these Jägermeister Cup weeks. I would anticipate that that's the case. That Ryan Shallow might be up in the competition for save of the week with that one.
Yeah, Christian Garner certainly had a shout as well. That one earlier in this half down to his left.
Some good saves in this one. No goals have found their way in. Not quite yet. Of course, if no goals are found throughout the entirety of the game, there will be goals guaranteed from the penalty spot afterwards. Schenfeld pops it in. Vaughn, nice ball, Sierkowski! It deflects through! The Richmond Kickers down their first goal in Jägermeister Cup history. Asking you style receive.
There's a lovely ball, lofted in. Vaughn finding himself in too much space, and a nice little flick by Vaughn. The deflection off Tyler Pollock and into the back of the net, Sierkowski. We've seen what he can do with several teams in this league. Good finish by him to give Richmond a 1-0 lead.
And his second year with the Kickers, but he came in halfway through the season, so this starting his first full year with the Richmond Kickers.
Former Revolution 2-man forward Madison.
In the 70th minute.
So now 1-0 in favor of the Kickers. Now they'll see if they can hang on to this advantage. 20 more minutes to go. Pollock, not the cleanest of clearances. Anderson gets a touch on it, and it'll be a Richmond throw. Vinyals pokes this one up. Headed along, tapped forward. Zuko does well there. How about that juggling effort from Sierakowski using the back heel? But then some contact after the fact will mean a foul.
Good work there by Jamie Smith, I think. There was an offside decision just before that, perhaps. Yeah, I think Sierakowski was just half a yard off the other side of Jamie Smith. Either way, the foul was called anyway. Charlotte still with the 1-0 lead over Tormenta, Chattanooga, and Knoxville. Just like here, no goals at the half.
The Kickers have had a better handful of the chances in this one. Now we'll have the goal to show for it. Scarlett gets that one poked loose, but Greenville have it right back.
Richmond have been outshot 10-8 by Greenville, but 5 shots on target to Greenville's 3. Finally making their efforts come to fruition. What will be a big confidence-boosting 3 points.
Drags all the way back to Shello, who will now put some air under it. Uncontested there for Ryan Sierkowski, but ends up working to the benefit of the Greenville triumph. Fitch pushes it up. Vinyals with the ball over to the left-hand side. Here's a good centering ball, but stepping on it is Evan Lee. And Suko, after that ball, practically bounced straight up once it landed on the ground. Had to do some guard work to make sure it would go out for a corner kick. Box out Jamie Smith there for a couple of moments. Vinyals quickly takes it short. Suko takes the shot. Justin Suko couldn't quite put it through, but you know he can bend it from that spot. Scored the Olympico last year. I believe it was at Tormenta.
It wasn't far past the far post. Jamie Smith was there, shepherding it wide. Yeah, Richmond looking to double their lead here. Looking likely to do so.
O'Dwyer couldn't get that pass lead. And there's definitely an arm holding back Chapo Herrera, who quickly retakes it. Castro. And that one will pop out of play for a Richmond Kickers throw. eFootball 2024 is here. Live your dream, rep your team, and play as your favorite USL Championship club. eFootball is free to play. Download now. Aaron Sawatsky going to help out and get this ball back into play. A man of the people. Simon Fitch throw in. O'Dwyer up to Sierkowski. Doing really well there, Ryan Sierkowski. Somehow the ball still at his feet. The Kickers persisting. Now a throw in for Richmond.
Yeah, another player we sort of failed to mention tonight. Richmond are missing Adrian Billhart.
Yeah.
Not listed on the injury report. His left foot will be useful here on this free kick.
One player who is back, at least on the bench, is Guy Franca, who's someone who has not played yet for Richmond. A Brazilian, another big body, 6'2".
Richmond taking their time here. The referee signaling that the clock is stopped.
Well, without Bill Hart, Neil Vinyals will be one of the guys to come over, along with Maxi Schenfeld. They've been the two taking the corner kicks. And we'll see if they choose the in-swinger or the out-swinger. It'll be Schenfeld putting this in play. And the decision is a goal kick.
Certainly looked like it came off the head of Pascal Corvina, but
yeah, I agree.
He's going to walk away, not quietly, not mention that. 15 minutes here for Greenville to avoid going down to their first ever Jägermeister Cup defeat.
Over 4,000 people in attendance at Paladin Stadium on a wonderful day, or I should say a wonderful night. 69 roughly degrees, 70 degrees in Greenville. And we've also just gotten a yellow card for Rick Wright.
He told us when he got his earlier yellow card this season, that was the first one he'd ever got, I think, or maybe second. He says he's not one to open his mouth.
You know, we were talking a little bit to him this week about how he's trying to improve his chats with the refs and how he wants to go about it, but everyone has a moment of weakness.
Perhaps more frustration in his team's play here on the referee's performance.
How about Scarlett showing some effort? Zion Scarlett across. Zakowski got a touch on it, but it only connects with Zaka Moran. McKinnon with some weaving moves. Now Zakowski gives it back to McKinnon. And then not on the same page with Ben Zakowski. That one will roll out harmlessly.
Yeah, kickers did a good job of getting back and crowding out McKinnon there, denying him and Zakowski any space to turn and shoot.
Yeah, I think those two are probably the last two right now you want to see. Well, maybe Castro's in that conversation, but Liam McKinnon's definitely number one of guys who get the ball in the box. You need to be on him like a magnet. Herrera's tripped up, and we're going to get another yellow card here. This one for Vaughn.
There's more of an accumulation than anything.
They need to fix some of that tape on his knee. It's starting to peel off. I know that would bother me if I was running around with some tape flapping.
Vaughn with the assist on the goal. Hard-nosed midfielder.
That yellow card brought to you by GSP International Airport.
The referee has issued a caution to Richmond's number 14, Guilherme Franca, in the 79th minute. Correction, number 17, James Vaughn.
Ball comes serviced in. Castro hit his hand, will be going the other way. Shello will take his sweet time.
Greenville still seeking their first corner of the night, Mark. 6-0 in that department in favor of Richmond.
An unlucky deflection off of Dwyer and off of Polak. It should be a Richmond throw, but the assistant did not spot it. So what was about to be an unlucky deflection actually ends up being a lucky miss for Greenville. McKinnon, that's a good step. Liam McKinnon gets taken down from behind. No foul called. Body bumbling into the back of Liam McKinnon.
Now he could get a toe on it before he clattered into McKinnon. Good work by Belinsky, a referee, to get a view of that. It's poked away.
Griffin Garnett, the one getting the stab in. Once again, just 17 years old. Kid from Richmond.
That was certainly a moment he could have looked like he was 17. That was a veteran poke away at the last second. He didn't see McKinnon complaining too much. And that's perhaps when he knew Griffin Garnett got a poke on the ball away before the contact. Now feeling his hamstring, perhaps.
James Vaughn getting tended to here in the 81st minute. The difference in this one, the finish from Ryan Sierakowski that deflected off of Tyler Polak.
Got a goal in the Tennessee Derby. Knoxville, 4 minutes into the second half, taking a 1-0 lead at Chattanooga.
Smoky Mountain Smackdown, as I've been told. So Vaughn will make his way off. This is where his night will conclude. And coming in is Joao Gomiro, an exciting player from last year for Richmond. Hasn't gotten a lot of minutes yet this season.
Yeah, certainly a man with some attacking prowess.
Well, they were going to perform the substitution.
Now he's making his way off.
A little of the hemming and hawing from this Richmond side. They are going to execute the substitution. There was a moment of doubt, and then at the end of the day, it's probably wise. If you're aching, you're ailing, and you're 80 minutes into a game anyway, you might as well make the substitution. You got some fresh legs in one Joao Gomiro, who will step in, the Brazilian from Sao Paulo.
Jordan Skelton with the goal for Juan Knox.
Kickers looking to sustain this 1-0 lead for the next 8+ minutes and collect their first win in Jägermeister Cup.
So the road teams will have a good start to Jägermeister Cup. Central Valley Fuego with the 2-point victory, we'll call it, in the penalty shootout. And Richmond, Charlotte, and Knoxville all with 1-0 leads on the road here in the second half. Not somewhere League One teams have success in the past on the road.
You never know with this league, Ross. The moment you think you've got everything understood is the moment that you've made a mistake.
Richmond now here just looking to take some valuable seconds off the clock. Certainly will be a good chunk of stoppage time in the second half. Greenville with only the one shot on target in the second 45 minutes. And a bit of a tame performance from them, all things considered how they've been playing over the last few weeks, but all credit to Richmond.
A nullifying performance from the kickers defensively. Suko, a good little touch to Nil Vinyals. He'll give it right back. Trying to connect with Gomiro. That was a bit of a vicious slide from Moran.
Yeah, that was a trademark Zaka Moran tackle. As the League One leader in yellow cards in history gets another one to add to that total.
At it again.
Chapa made a bit of a meal of it, but there was certainly a decent amount of contact in there.
This ball's loose in the 18, the yellow card brought to you by GSP International Airport. Smith able to knock that one away, but Richmond still have a couple of bodies forward. Polak will play it back to Garner, and Greenville will have possession once again. 5 minutes plus stoppage time to go. Can Greenville find an equalizer? Our first game in the Jägermeister Cup was 1-0 until the 94th minute. A penalty was awarded to Central Valley Fuego, who would then go on to win the extra point in the penalty kick shootout. Greenville find a little bit of that similar magic over the kickers on the road. And underdogs early on in this season find 3 points.
Good work back there by Zach Moran. Jamie Smith trying to find Zakowski. Jamie Smith's got a habit of some late game heroics. And a good chance early in this first half. I mean, second half, excuse me. It seems so long ago now. They haven't done much since then, Greenville.
That'll be a whistle and a foul on Justin Suko with the push on the back of Jamie Smith. JJ Belinsky, our head official, pointing to the spot where this free kick will be taken as the Lilac Bodies go to line up at the top of the 18.
Don't forget tomorrow's game, 4 p.m. Lexington, 4 p.m. Eastern, Lexington against Madison. That should be a fun one.
Here's the free kick. Lofted up high, and Castro got a connection on it, but it will be a goal kick. And a substitution preparing for the Greenville Triumph. Aiden Anderson will see his night come to a conclusion. The youngster will be replaced by someone just a year older than him, Carlos Anguiano.
Yeah, Anguiano, a guy yet to really force himself into this Greenville starting lineup. Some good USL Championship experience.
Substitution brought to you by Spinks, coming over from Phoenix Rising, who opened up the USL weekend yesterday evening with a 3-1 victory over Rhode Island. Lion McKinnon with a good step. Lion McKinnon knocked away. Maxi Schenfeld dishing it out.
Yeah, Lion McKinnon, when he watches this one back on tape, you realize that Ryan Zakowski was wide open on the far side with nobody anywhere near him. And you can see him screaming at him after this play. McKinnon with just too many bodies to beat. Zakowski, not for the first time tonight, was pleading for it in open space.
That one knocked out for a corner kick.
First one of the game.
Greenville willing to see if they can find some set piece performance here.
Keep an eye on Jamie Smith, Leo Castro, number 4, 25. Likely targets here.
Here comes the service. Headed down by Castro. It's still on the mix, and it's in the back of the net. Evan Lee leveling things here at Paladin Stadium.
Well, the first corner, Jamie Smith's enjoying his cardboard Jägermeister. As Evan Lee finds the back of the net for the second time this season.
Sometimes it's not the first shot, Ross. It's Evan Lee with the chaser to put it through.
And it was a good delivery, and unfortunately for Richmond, Ryan Sierakowski, the goal scorer, just couldn't get enough on it, get it out of the danger area, and Evan Lee made him pay.
1-1. We said it moments ago, a late game equalizer from Central Valley Fuego to make it 1-1, and we've got a late game equalizer here for the Greenville Triumph. That goal brought to you by the YMCA of Greenville, scored by Evan Lee. Now Vinyals, the other way, tried to dish it to Sierakowski. Scarlett lofting it up. It's Schenfeld there, and he'll just launch that one into the stratosphere. It'll bounce out. 90 minutes have transpired, and now we're back where we started, all tied up. Castro inside for McKinnon, cleared away.
Stoppage time in Statesboro. Charlotte trying to hang on to their 1-0 lead. We'll keep you abreast of that situation.
McKinnon steps to his right with the feed inside, headed away by Moran. Zierakowski.
Obviously that one, the other game in this group.
Evan Lee feeds inside for Zierakowski. Zierakowski for McKinnon! Off the post! Looking to make it 2 in quick succession for Greenville.
This is the kind of play the Greenville fans have been looking from their team all night. Just suddenly now getting into the flow of it. Great chance from McKinnon. Almost bounced off the back of Shello and in again.
And now in comes Arthur Boschwa. Justin Suko will be replaced. And if this one goes to penalties, Boschwa is one of the guys who wants to get some redemption in that spot.
Just like here in Greenville, Mark Tormenta with an injury time equalizer against the Independents. We'll get to that in a second.
Headed back across the fray of things. Now Vinyals with some space to work with going forward. Herrera.
It's on a yellow. Chapa, you have to be careful there.
Vinyals with a nice challenge from Herrera. But Richmond still has something to work with here. Zierakowski rolls it back to Vinyals. He can provide service, and he'll do so. Headed away by Smith. The intensity at a very high level right now for both the kickers and the Triumph. Gamiro with a great service. Punched away by Garner. Evan Lee lobs it forward, and he draws the foul. Quickly retaken by Greenville. Zierakowski launches this one inside, and it's caught by Shello. You can tell both sides hungry to find that winner. Trying to get all 3 points in this one. And that's going to be a yellow card for Dwyer, throwing that ball away after it was indicated it would be a Greenville throw-in. 3 of the 6 minutes have transpired. That yellow card brought to you by GSP International Airport. Chandler O'Dwyer, the Englishman.
The referee has issued a caution on Richmond's number 27, Chandler O'Dwyer, in stoppage time.
Escorted out by Tyler Polak. 2.5 minutes to go, or else we're going to penalties.
Sebastian Vivas with the late equalizer for South Georgia in the 93rd minute.
Smith puts this one straight up and out for a Richmond throw.
So 3/4 of our games here in the first night of the Jägermeister Cup will go to the shootout.
Vinyals has that one deflect away. Here's Boschwa, not a good touch. Now Gamiro, he could score a banger. Gamiro dancing to his left. Well guarded by Smith. Wouldn't let him get by. Moran inside. Back to Moran. Richmond retreating for a moment. Now a wind-up effort. Well off target. Well, the goal of some of the tweaks in the format of this cup were meant to generate excitement, and excitement is exactly what they've gotten here in day one. Of course, League One has a tendency to provide that all on their own. Shello. Center of the pitch. Pop back and forth. Now Bashua with 30 seconds to go. Can the kickers find a late goal? Here's an effort. It's saved by Garner. The spillage picked up by Richmond. Fitch sends it inside. And that collision means a free kick for Greenville.
Great save here by Garner once again, getting down low. This is third quality save of that kind tonight.
You also had to be mindful of Bashua right there. More penalties coming. Well, Ross, it's time for some shots.
We did. I was lamenting earlier that I didn't ask Rick Wright earlier this week if he'd planned on who would take the penalties or if they're just going to see who would step up on the evening. We'll certainly soon see him. Again, missed 3 of their 4 penalties this year already. Ryan McKinnon, the only one to score one. He's also missed one, as has Brandon Fricke, not in the squad tonight. As has Leo Castro. So we'll see who steps up for both teams. Arthur Bashua, obviously a nice little late substitution. He may take a PK as well.
Richmond kickers looking for redemption after losing 5-4 in penalties to Loudoun. Greenville, don't believe has ever been to penalties before. Let's take a look at the highlights from this game. How did we get here? We had 2 goals in the second half. First off, Sierakowski with the header off the shoulder of Tyler Polak, making it 1-0 in favor of Richmond. And then they were in hanging on mode, just trying to keep that 1-0 lead for the rest of the way. But then Greenville, on their first corner kick of the night in the 89th minute, Castro's header, couldn't find its way in, but Evan Lee, with the second effort, blasts that one into the roof. And he hangs up the phone. He's off work. And Jamie Smith finds the cardboard Jägermeister bottle. And now, both teams will earn a point, which means that at this very moment, it is a 4-way tie in the East Group. Every team earning a point. Now it will be a matter of which of these teams will earn an extra point. Some words of encouragement from the captain, Evan Lee.
It was a composed finish by Evan Lee. Rick Wright likes to remind us that he played 10 in college. Obviously, he's moved up from the center back spot to defensive midfield over the last couple of seasons. Went back to CB tonight. Garner's made some quality shot stops tonight.
Yeah, the Corvino substitution, which pushed him back to the back line, didn't keep him from getting on the score sheet, Ross.
No.
And now it'll be him and Nil Vinyals who will be doing the coin flip to see who will have the first take, as both teams make their way to that midfield line to make that lonely walk at Paladin Stadium. They'll be going to the left end zone. And here we go.
And obviously not quite as much at stake here, just 1 point, right, as opposed to perhaps advancing in the knockout stage of a competition, but these guys obviously still want to win.
Yeah, that competitive edge is gonna still kick in. So looks like it'll be Richmond who will take first, and the very first taker will be Nil Vinyals. He had himself a good performance over 90 minutes.
This is an interesting one because obviously he took the penalty. We had this situation in the World Cup with England. Harry Kane took a penalty earlier in the match, and then again, I think it was an extra time, right? And missed. He made the first one, missed the second one.
Granted, in that situation, it's Harry Kane we're talking about.
Yes.
Only one of the best strikers in the world.
Neil Vignals, until earlier tonight, was 6 for 6 on penalty kicks as a Richmond kicker. So now 6 for 7 coming into this one. Christian Garner obviously saved a PK earlier in this match against this man here. And Josh Dolling scored against him in the opener. So he wins this battle.
Well, Vignals find redemption from the penalty spot. Yes, he will. Neil Vignals opens up the scoring in penalty kicks, and he does it smoothly.
Yeah, wins the mind games there. Garner perhaps thought he was going to try and force him, thinking he was going to go the other way. It was more like it from Vignals.
First taker for Greenville, Jamie Smith.
Interesting.
One of the defenders. We know he's got nerves of steel.
I think this one might have a bit of thump behind it. Mark, from the betting man.
One-on-one with Ryan Shello. Shello, who was also between the pipes for that penalty shootout against Loudon. Smith, he puts it through.
I was wrong, he placed that nicely. Sent Shello the wrong way. Wasn't the best struck free kick penalty in the world, excuse me, but it didn't matter because Shello went to his right. Never like to see it bounce more than once on the way through.
So back square even here. Waiting for the breaking point. It'll be Simon Fitch up next.
Another defender.
From Richmond, went to VCU, and now plays for the Richmond Kickers. So it's an all Richmond kind of guy here, Simon Fitch. His third year with the program. And boy, has he been solid for the Kickers over these few years. Can he be solid from the penalty spot? He does. Putting it through, Simon Fitch. Keeping it all green for the Kickers here.
As you mentioned earlier, Ryan Shello has been involved in a shootout earlier this season. They lost to Loudon in the Cup. Been looking for redemption.
Yeah, all 5 went through for Loudon. So now it's Liam McKinnon. This is the kind of guy you anticipate to take these, but he has had penalties denied this season. But 5 goals to his name in League One competition and a couple more in the Open Cup. Means he gets to have a chance.
Short run up.
Liam McKinnon scores! Picks the top corner.
Certainly didn't look like a penalty for a man that's missed one this year. Had one saved by Austin Pack against Charlotte in the first half of that game. They won against Lalo Delgado. A 3-1 win over Noco. Deposited that one like a champ.
Takes some nerves to put some air under your shot when you take a penalty. And now one of the substitutes, Joao Gamiro, will step up to the plate.
Not taking a penalty kick as a pro.
His second year with the Richmond Kickers, was previously with North Carolina Fusion. And the Brazilian will stare down Christian Garner. 2 goals apiece. Gamiro winding up and scoring. And that one will spin back to Christian Garner. All perfection here from the penalty spot for both sides.
Well, taking one there into the side netting. Been some quality penalties here so far. Sometimes that's how these shootouts go. Other times guys just can't score to save their lives.
Ben Sikowski, the rookie, will now go up from Glen Rock, New Jersey. Facing Ryan Shello. He's been very good plugging in for Velasquez. And Zakowski saved! Straight down the middle. Ryan Shello just has to push it away in place.
Shello with a brave decision to stay in the middle. Zakowski not with the greatest of penalties. Shello barely had to move on this one. Right at him. Zakowski was hoping he would go one way or the other, and he didn't. Cost him.
And with that, Richmond can put Greenville to the brink if they convert this one. And it's the Argentine Zaka Moran. Had himself a good game today. A couple of moments where he made the necessary touch, the clearance needed to keep Greenville away.
First penalty as a pro, nothing with Richmond, which is surprising. You'd think he perhaps would have taken one at some point. Go with the left-footed here. Obviously, a strong left foot.
Moran, and he scores. And with that, Greenville have to convert their next 2 penalties to stay alive. Richmond on the cusp of an extra point now.
Well, he's never scored a League One goal. This won't count as a League One goal, but I don't think there's anybody you'd rather have here. The leadership qualities of Tyler Polak.
So Tyler Polak, the longtime man for Greenville, the first ever signing for the Greenville Triumph. And he keeps his team alive. Now who does that bring to the plate for the Richmond Kickers?
Still got Sierakowski, Suko perhaps.
Polak makes his leave. Four 3 in penalties. It'll be Chandler O'Dwyer, the Englishman. His 3rd year with the Richmond Kickers, with a chance to secure an extra point for Richmond in this, their first Jägermeister Cup matchup. Garner either needs to come up with a save or hope for a miss entirely. Will the Kickers get 2 points on the road? Yes, they will. Richmond victorious. Bottoms up for the visiting Kickers as they find success in penalty kicks.
Yeah, I think perhaps a deserved extra point for the visitors, especially with everything going on with their injuries. Probably the better team through 90 minutes tonight, especially in that second half. Saw the 3 points vanish right at the end of 90, but we'll take the point home to Virginia. Uh-oh, we got a bit of a shoving match going on here. Jamie Smith getting involved, that's unfortunate. Let's see what sparked it.
And there's the nice finish. A lot of good penalty kicks from Richmond today. So now we get the handshake line for the 2 sides. And although that's where the game playing activities are finished, we do still have some more broadcast activities on the other side of this break. Your final score, 1-1 between the 2 sides, but Richmond in penalties, victorious and get 2 points on the night. We'll see you after this break.
Welcome to Wood Creek Dental, where dental care is a family tradition. For over 40 years, we're proud to be a family-owned practice serving the community of Greenville, South Carolina. At Wood Creek Dental, we believe in quality care and exceptional service. Our experienced dentists and dedicated staff are committed to your oral health. We've invested in modern technology and have created a relaxing atmosphere for your comfort and peace of mind. We prioritize your experience in our calm and caring atmosphere. Our commitment to providing you and your family with exceptional service is at the heart of everything we do, and our patient-centered approach builds relationships based on trust and confidence. Experience the difference for yourself. Wood Creek Dental, Dental care, from our family to yours.
My name is Noble Nessie, and I'm the queen of the Noble Dog Hotel. I'm also an alumni of our Canine Healing Project. Noble Dogs 5-star resort provides furry friends with all sorts of top-notch amenities. The grooming spa offers everything from a luxury bath to a nail trim to my favorite, a blueberry facial. For humans on the go, Noble Dog offers 5-star boarding with 24-hour care, room service, and even a webcam. My humans always book the Pausidential Suite because I sleep better after evening story time. For shorter days, Noble Dog also offers 2-hour, half-day, and full-day daycare passes. And because we value human-canine harmony, Noble Dog offers etiquette training. I would know. I'm a certified therapy dog. All in all, the Noble Dog Hotel is unlike any other. So come on out. We can't wait to meet your furry friend.
Cycling was a lifesaver. It really was.
You know, when we first talked about the business, I could tell it was more than just a new direction for you.
Yeah, it's a full-time passion now.
It wasn't the easiest journey, was it?
Hanging on for the ride, that's half the fun. Staying ahead of your competition, that's the other half.
There's always more ground to cover. Let's find a way.
Jägermeister is proud to be the presenting sponsor of the inaugural USL Jägermeister Cup. Take a shot at glory and celebrate the magic of this exciting new tournament all year long. Please drink responsibly. Here are full-time highlights from this one between the Richmond Kickers and the Greenville Triumph. Mark Schoenster, Ross Davenport with you here. It started with a penalty. It would end up with penalties at the end of the night. But Christian Garner in this one getting the save to stop Nil Vinyals. He would find redemption at the end of the night.
Yeah, Garner had a great night. That was really his only mistake, giving up that PK. Saved his team on numerous occasions in this one.
Kickers then in the second half had some opportunities. Jamie Smith would have the goal line clearance here, denying Chandler O'Dwyer the opportunity to break the deadlock. Then on the other end of things, Ryan Schellout with a fantastic effort to keep this one 0-0. But then, Vaughn to Sierakowski, off pull-up, into the back of the net.
Yeah, it was great work from Vaughn, just to flick it with the outside of the right foot, some good improvisation. Sierakowski, he's the kind of striker that will put that on target. Got a bit of a deflection, but ended up in the back of the net regardless. And yeah, Richmond probably with a deserved lead at that point.
Then Greenville, on their first corner kick of the night, wouldn't go through with Castro, but Evan Lee would knock this one in and make it 1-1, which meant penalties were to come. Both sides were pretty fiery, though, in that added time to both try to find that three-point goal. Neither one could convert. And then Ryan Schellow with the stop on Zakowski, and Chandler O'Dwyer, who puts it away to give that extra point to the Richmond Kickers. As we look at the numbers, whew, look at all those shots, Ross.
Yeah, they all came mostly, I think, in the second half. But yeah, Richmond, I think, deserved that extra point for sure with their performance tonight. As you mentioned, decimated by injuries. A good extra point there for Darren Sawatsky's men to take home to Virginia.
Both of these clubs will now go back to league play. Rick Wrightside will go to Madison. Meanwhile, Darren Sawatsky will go home. And the Kickers will play Knoxville on Friday. Next cup match will be Tormenta at home for Greenville. Meanwhile, at Chattanooga for Richmond 2 weeks from now on the 11th of May. But that is where the fun for tonight concludes. We hope you had a good time. We certainly did. And it seems like the Jägermeister Cup is living up to the exciting expectations we had for it. 3 games, 3 penalty kick shootouts, still 1 more to go tonight, so I would recommend flipping over to it. But for our broadcasting crew, for Ross Davenport, I'm Mark Schoenster. We hope you have a fantastic night. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next time on ESPN+.
What a debut. What a debut for the Jägermeister.